Um, we are continuing with Law of Contract, Unit 1, and this is part 3 of it. And in this part, we are looking at the illustration of writing and registration of a contract. So this is a continuation of essential elements of a valid contract, and we had previously spoken about writing and registration. I will repeat what I had read in the previous part. Writing and registration. A contract may be in oral or writing, but in special cases the Act says that the agreement to be valid must be in writing and registered. Illustration of writing and registration of a contract. Agreement to pay time barred debt must be in writing. Section 25. Arbitration agreement must be in writing as per Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. Agreement for sale or immovable property must be in writing and registered under the Transfer of Property Act 1882. We continue with the essential elements of a valid contract. Certainty is an essential element. Certainty. Agreements, the meaning of which is not certain or capable of being made certain, are void. Example: A agrees to sell B 100 tons of oil. There is nothing whatever to show what kind of oil was intended. The agreement is void for uncertainty. Another essential element of a valid contract is possibility of performance. An agreement to do an act impossible in itself is void. Section 56. Example: A agrees with B to discover treasure by magic. The agreement is not enforceable because it's impossible to do. Another essential element of a valid contract: not expressly declared void. Not expressly declared void. An agreement in restraint of marriage, agreement in restraint of trade are void agreements. Now we are going to look at various types of contracts. 1. Contracts on the basis of creation. 4 types. Contracts on the basis of creation. There are 4 types. 1. Express contract. This is one which is made by words, spoken or written. Example: A tells B on telephone that he offers to sell his car for rupees 80,000, and B in reply informs A that he accepts the offer. There is an express contract. Second, implied contract. Implied contract is one which is made otherwise than by words spoken or written. It is inferred from the acts of parties or by law. Case of a coolie or a shoe shiner. Third, tacit contract. Tacit contract is one which is inferred from the conduct of parties. For example, withdrawal of cash through ATM. Another example is the fall of a hammer in an auction sale. This is tacit contract, TACIT. Fourth, quasi-contract, QUASI. Quasi-contract: there is no express or implied agreement between the parties but law recognizes as a contract. For example, obligation of finder of lost goods to return them to the true owner, or liability of a person to whom money is paid under mistake to repay it back. The second type of contract is contract on the basis of execution. There are three types of contracts on the basis of execution. 1. Executed contract. This is one in which both the parties to the contract have performed their respective obligations under the contract. Example, when a bookseller sells a book on cash payment, it is an executed contract. Second, executory contract. Executory contract. This is one in which both the parties to be in which let me read it again. Second one is executory contract, is one in which both the parties to the contract have to perform their respective obligations in future. Example, T agrees to coach R, a pre-medical student, from first day of the next month, and R in consideration promises to pay T rupees 3,000 per month. The contract is executory. Third type of executed contracts on the basis of execution. Third one is partly executed and partly executory contract. This is one in which one of the parties to the contract have performed his obligation and the other party has still to perform his obligation. Example, M gives the possession of a car to N for rupees 1 lakh cash down, and N pays rupees 10,000 as an earnest money and promises to pay balance amount on next Sunday. M promises to execute a sale deed on receipt of full amount. Partly executed by M and partly executory on part of N. Third type of contract is contracts on the basis of enforceability. Now there are 6 types of contracts on the basis of enforceability. 1. Valid contract. This is one which satisfies all the conditions prescribed by law. For example, marriage, offer and acceptance by 2 parties. Second, voidable contract, section 2(1). This is one which is enforceable by law at the option of one or more of the other parties thereon, but not at the option of the other or others. Consent of one party is normally obtained by coercion or undue influence or fraud or misrepresentation. Repudiation must take place within a reasonable time. So we just finished various types of contracts, and I will end here this part, and in the next part we look at consequences of rescission of voidable contract.